So, what do you think the most noob question is that you hear more than once? Someone just coming into what do you think the most common, like, repeated question that you see, like, on Facebook or whatever?
How many birds can I put in this space? Probably.
That's a good one for sure. If they're rollers, there's no limit. You can just stack them on top of each other and squeeze them in.
Or how many, or where do I find birds? Where do I find birds? That'd probably be the first question, right?
Right.
Do you even need a cage? Do you have a box? That's probably the most noob question. Do you have a box I could bring this home in?
Yeah. That's like at the show in person noob question. So what do you think the most common noob mistake would be?
Overcrowding. Shitty water.
That goes hand in hand with the how many can you fit in there?
I think it'd be overcrowding. Dirty water.
Yeah, dirty water. I don't think people take that as serious as they should.
I was talking to a guy the other day. I just went along with it, because he's just not in the mood to. He probably listens. If you listen and you feel like you were a part of this conversation, go back and listen again. Because caught him up, and I was like, well, most guys say that you need a little bit of dirt in your loft, a little bit of droppings in your loft to keep up the immunities.
For sure. Yeah.
And this guy says, yeah. And I couldn't help but notice the first thing they do is turn around and poop in their water, and that builds up their immune system. I said, hell no. You need to get some real waterers, dude.
I think that's where, like, the whole idea about, they make these really big waterers. So I put that, 3-gallon water in with my 5 pigeons, and I don't got to change the water all month. It's like, now that big waterer is for
you're breeding bacteria.
Yeah.
You're breeding bacteria in that shit.
Yeah. Dry droppings are different than wet droppings in water they drink. Hey, Cam, can you hear us okay?
Hey, hello.
So yeah, we got a list of some questions that we actually had from previous submissions from listeners, but that episode that Chris and I did, we didn't get a run through them all. So we got some of those left over. We got some new ones from the post and through Messenger and emails. So we'll try to tackle as many as we can.
The world famous pigeon podcast.
That's right. I told Chris that's what we call it. I love it.
Well, embrace it. You guys know it's. You already said the analytics, right?
Yeah. We're all over the world.
Yeah.
I don't want to toot the horn, Hey guys, what is this? What episode is this?
47.
Episode number 47. The All About Pigeons podcast, or the world famous pigeon podcast.
Hey, so today we got with us Cam Datanagan. Cam has been awarded the NPA President's Award. He's currently a director on the NPA, assistant to the NPA Junior Director, and an NPA Legacy Trust Fund trustee. He's the current president of the Hawaii All-Breed Pigeon Association, former National Birmingham Roller Club PR director. He has competed in local pigeon races, NBRC events, and World Cup for rollers. He has also won multiple Best of Breed awards in the Amarillo NPA Grand National. His family also runs a family white bird release. Cam has had pigeons for 55 years. He currently has over 200 pigeons with over 10 different breeds. Cam, thanks for coming on today and sharing some of your experience and knowledge with these questions that we got from the listeners and helping new people get started.
Hey, aloha, guys. Thank you so much for letting me be part of this, epic podcast, right? I'm honored. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on. This is great. So let's jump right into it. So we posted that we were going to be talking to you. So we had a couple of questions come through on that post. We got questions that we weren't able to get to on a former Ask Your Question sort of podcast. So we're going to go through and get started. So first one is from Barb Thompson. Says, my flock now is not flying. I have a mix from 7 weeks, 6 months, and 3 pairs ready to lay. I cannot find pigeon mix locally. I have bought wild bird seed without corn at the feed store. Then I add whole corn and layer pellets. I feel there is too much sunflower in it, and they seem to waste a lot of corn and layer. Others have suggested chicken scratch instead of the seed, but I thought cracked corn was bad for them. A lot of information, but I think she's talking about the feed is the issue that she's having here.
Get the velocity sometimes, you know. It really depending on that breed. Would you know what breed she's talking about?
Now, she didn't mention any type of breed, but
Yeah.
that is a good point, though. Yeah, depending on what you're doing with them. I know that she did say something about them not flying, so I doubt it's a fancy breed at least.
Yeah. Well, lately I've been watching a lot of guys throw out their Donics and Wutas and all that stuff. They're really having fun making a pigeon, you know, making them fly. And I know Birmingham Rollers, everybody has a say. You guys even had some famous guys on. I mean, I was amazed. I looked at your other podcast. I know Brian McCormick, Sam Smitty, a whole bunch of guys. So I'm very proud of you guys. We even have those. Some people don't talk, and I'm happy that you guys, there's a lot, like you said, it's a loaded question. So I hope she just got a trial and error. You know how Arnold Schwarzenegger became huge, right? He was the first guy, documented first guy to write down everything he did. It was one of those documentaries. He wrote down what he did, how he progressed. So that I would suggest to her or him, I forget what. Write down what they do, what works, and just keep on doing it.
Same person, another question. She asked, how often and what temps should I give them a bird bath?
Our farm, little farm, twice a week. Some days we put 4 mule Baraxo. I don't know if you guys have that.
Oh,
and then the next, that's what we have. If we have specialties, things that my dad bought. But again, going back to what he does, it's real simple. Hawaiian rocks out. So if the birds drink it, you know, they won't get affected. But mimic what they do in the wild. So if they're hot, they're gonna take a bath. A lot of times people forget that you gotta let the pigeon be pigeon, you know? Put it out there, put the bath there, and they're gonna go in by themselves, they're gonna go in. Like today, it's like what? It's about 80s right now. They're taking a bath this tomorrow morning. And I'll leave it out. Tomorrow will be Wednesday. And I'll put it out again on Saturday. And whoever goes in, goes in.
So it never really gets too cold over there. And what I'll do in the wintertime, I'll still let my breeders, I'll kind of pick a sunnier day, and I'll just do like warm tap water, and I'll, pour some in there for them to have a bath. They did it was one of the big squab farms where they gave their breeders a bath, and then the other ones, in their control didn't get a bath, and it didn't affect like egg production or anything like that. But, I do feel like the birds really do enjoy it. They play around with it, then afterwards kind of sunbathe a bit. In the summertime, I feel like they definitely want to get in there more often too, like you're saying, probably just to get cool.
When my breeders, I know for a fact for us and our breeding loft, because we have about 8 different lofts. With the breeder lofts, we put it out there in a fly pen. And what that will do is their down feather on the bottom would clean them out and have that little moisture. So when they incubate, it will be easier for them. I mean, that's what we found out, because I live on the drier part of the island. And going back, whatever I do is sometimes the opposite. But my other friend on the other side of the island, I'm lucky to be on the dry side because I can control watering or their bath.
Some of these came through Messenger. So Judy asked, how to determine the sex of pigeons? Can you determine that at a young age?
How do you guys do it? I have a silly one, but this is what I learned from when I was younger. You guys have a certain...
Chris loves the magnet method. He loves swinging magnets over their head, and if the magnet starts tornadoing, then he knows it's no. Chris has a foolproof method here.
I hang them upside down and measure their prop tail.
Their vent. Some guys touch over there. What we do, my dad, because I have a lot of powder, so a lot of the hen and the cock would, their globes would be big. So you just put 2 birds together. You have 4 eggs. You have 2 girls. You have no eggs. You have 2 boys. You just really got to watch, and that's the fun part, because that gives you the opportunity to learn or buck pigeon or just really watch your birds.
What age do they start laying eggs?
I seen it as early as 3 months, 4
Okay.
months. Yeah, I mean, for me, once again, I have so many different breeds, but my dad loves to breed. He's a little bit of a hoarder, and that's why a lot of my friends have a lot of nice birds because you can't keep them all. A lot of people love to hoard birds. It is a sickness. It is a thing when you don't want to get rid of the birds. You don't want to cull them. So what we do is we give away birds to friends and family. This is what I always tell everybody, the young guys. You got to have a perch for every bird, not a bird for every perch. You know what I mean?
Like
Some guys like, oh, I got an extra perch. So they'll get another bird. They'll buy another bird. You need a perch for every bird, not a bird for every perch. Kind of deep, but you can't keep them all.
Chris was just talking about that. We were kind of talking beforehand about what do you think is the most commonly you see on Facebook or wherever, you hear what's the most common repeated like newbie question. And it's, someone will take a picture of a shed or whatever. How many pigeons do you think I could fit in here?
They all want to go to a website calculator to figure out the square footage and pigeon math, but it's not quite that simple.
Right. Yeah, you got 20 figuritas or 20 big, Indian fantails. It's gonna, you don't want to jam them all in there no matter what. I think they all need more space because I think on average it's like a square foot of bird. And I still think that'd be crazy to really fill it.
And then you same thing with the fish, right? You need a gallon per fish, depending on the size of the fish. But the neon tetras versus a big goldfish or a big angelfish. Yeah, because I have friends who own pet shops, and that's the go-to, a gallon per fish.
Thought it was a gallon per inch.
Well, maybe that too. But my friend wanted to sell a lot of fish.
Man, they were selling a lot of aquariums.
Yeah,
right.
That too.
Just boost it up. What about spayed leg? What do you think causes that, and is it curable?
One cause is you don't have any traction in the nest. We put gravel and sawdust and then straw, and we make the birds. So there is traction. So the bird would stay within itself. Because once the birds start laying, because the mom I can just only talk by experience. The mom is always sitting in it, in the nest with the single bird or the double bird. So sometimes I heard so many people even put potatoes or something next to, if you have one single bird, you put something next to the bird so the bird would always keep the legs together.
Rock.
Yeah. So, but a rock, yeah. But you know what? Certain breeds, I heard, the leg tends to do that no matter what. So then you have to cull that particular breeder because it's a gene thing, right?
Is there any way to cure it, like tying their legs together? Or?
You can, but then sometimes is it worth it?
Yeah.
That's what a lot of breeders. I just talking by experience. Is it worth it? If it's your rare breed, so you have dragoons, 2 dragoons, but like again, you have 20 figuritas. If your dragoon has one baby or one egg, it's really hard to breed those birds. You'll do your best to get it together.
Yeah.
If you have 20 figuritas breeding like crazy because they are very fertile. Because I had 20 figuritas at one point. Yeah, you would just cull them. You ever did the tie thing? You guys ever tried it?
I have, yeah. I actually what you're talking about there with the potato, I had a pigeon that was starting to get spayed leg, and Chris was like, stick a rock in there. And I stuck a rock in there, and I didn't tie it or nothing. I just stuck the rock in there, and that right there kind of cramped up its space and pushed its legs together, and the bird's 100% right now.
There's a lot of different things too, right? Because you can go to jeds and foys. You have that little, how do you say that? Almost like that green scrubber has this one, the nest bowl warmer that actually helps because the claws would stick to that, and then the legs tend not to spay.
So Christian asks, which would you prefer, using an open hole nest box or a large bowl?
Depending on the breed. So like Hungarian house pigeons, the whole perch or the whole area would be a nest versus, all the little birds. What is there a breed that she's talking about?
No, it was just about the nest bowls, which makes sense though. I mean, I guess if you're trying to bigger bird, bigger area.
Then after you also got to worry about the muff. You know, the muff, the feathers on the feet. You got to make sure if it's a muffed bird, even rollers, they got the feather foot. You got to trim them because if you have a little bowl, the mom was
muffs
almost like
and the booted birds.
Yeah. So you have to watch about that too. I mean, most breeders, fancy birds, even west of England, English trumpeters, they have huge feathers on their foot. So during the breeding season, just all cut because no matter what nest bowl, nest box, they just tend to flip it out.
What do you use for those guys? Dive into that a little bit. What do you use for those guys?
Well, first off, they're important. You cut them up, and my dad loves English trumpeters and all the big birds and what muffs. We sometimes get the oil filter or the oil change containers. You got to be low, even with the Modinas. I'm just jumping all over it. Depending on the breed. So big muff birds, you would cut them and be kind of shallow because the birds sometimes have a hard time jumping in and out. Notice Modinas, I noticed people just use like the gallon or the Home Depot bucket, cut it. You can cut it in half or you can make a big hole. The Modinas would jump in and use just the bucket as a bowl.
I did that. I have a bunch of those buckets.
Yeah.
With the dog.
Modinas love it.
Big dog bowls in them. Yeah.
Whatever works. And again, it's trial and error. You gotta keep on trying. And if it's an ugly bird, but if you like it, that's your bird. If it's ugly, and I don't know, not to go too deep. So some people love clean loft, scraping, every time, every day, vacuuming, pine saw, which is great. But again, for me, pigeon needs to be pigeon basic. I guess the environment. My dad likes the messy loft, the gravel. It works. Every bird has its own ecosystem, but once again, you just got to play around with it. I know some people go all out for the first few years, get upset, boom, they're done. Spent a whole bunch of money. One kid spent $4,000 on his setup and the birds, and he was done after like 2 years. It's sad, but he wasn't mentored properly. But you have to try different things, and people sometimes take advantage of them. Try this, try that. What is your breed of choice? Sorry to ask you a question.
Well, I like birds without muffs. I got racers and rollers.
Clean-legged. Yeah.
Yep, clean-legged. I do have some satinets. They were my first ones. But
do you use the satinets as droppers?
No, they're just pets more than anything. They were hand raised, so they're real tame. My favorite, probably be the rollers. Actually, I'm having a lot of fun with those, and a good racer too. I'm not really a showbird kind of guy. I like to fly. Got to fly it. I got some horseman powders flying too.
Oh yeah, they're pretty cool.
Phil's gonna have some horseman powders pretty soon.
Yes, I'm gonna have to wind up building a horseman powder loft here just for them.
You have a good club, by the way, a national club. Charlie Rowe is one of the horseman powder guys. Hopefully, you guys gonna meet us at OKC, Oklahoma, in January.
Yeah, I'll definitely be going to that. Chris is still figuring it out here. I think I'm gonna try to kidnap him and sneak him out there.
Hey, speaking of which, kind of on the same topic, but not really. Speaking of shows, Tim from the MPA called today and said that the books are available, the Book of Standards. Everybody's been waiting for.
Get that new book. It's got like a lot of revisions in it. It's like the biggest standard book that the NPA's put out, right?
Yeah, and it's friendly. Friendly meaning when they got new or updated standards, it's not going to be like how the old standard, every page is used. So if, there's a new standard and you kind of just rip that page out or whatever. So it's printed in a way that when a new standard comes out within the next few years, you don't have to buy a new standard book. You can just buy the updated standards. And
see, that right there would be a good one too, though, if someone's getting into it. And that book right there kind of would show you what a good quality pigeon looks like, what you're looking for, and just really educational too.
We worked hard on it. I did my best too.
So Judy asked, where do you get bands?
Lately, a lot of people have been going Amazon. I would recommend to go to the three major organizations, NPA, NBRC, and AU. But Amazon's been creeping up there. We don't recommend that because there's no guarantee on all the band sellers, and there's no record. If you were to buy from Amazon and your bird is lost, nobody knows who and where. At least with AU, NBRC, and NPA, we do have a record of who purchased the band. And then at least you have a starting point to find out whose bird is it, or we can find the owner somehow, some way.
I've gotten a couple back from the bands. I think 2.
Yeah. A lot of people have been doing the personalized bands also. Yeah. You guys ever tried to do that? Phone number?
Those are cool. You can put pictures on them and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I think that makes a lot more sense because, I mean, you look at all these Facebook groups and people are always like, hey, I found this pigeon and I don't know where to go. And it's like, if it literally has your name and number on it, there's no tell me what the pigeon looks like and, trying to track the person down.
One thing about it is you need to make sure that you ordered the bands from the organization you plan to work with.
That's right. Yeah, you're going to go to the NPA.
NPA bands are no good for racers.
Right.
Yeah, if you're gonna race in a local or sanctioned AU or IF races, you got to make sure you're within the organization standards.
I found that out kind of late in the game that your race bird's got to have race bands on them. I think one-off races you can do personal bands, but if you're gonna race around town, you got to have a racer band.
So Cam, for anybody who's just getting started, no specific questions or nothing like that, someone just getting started, or maybe they're just interested in it, what would be, from your experience, and you've done a lot with helping new fanciers and you've seen common issues reoccur, what kind of advice would you give a new person starting off?
First off, I would recommend, do they have the time? Do they have the housing? And wherever they live, they got to make sure it's within their rules. Because my experience, people would just put up a loft, put some birds in their garage, and come to find out their HOA or their landlord don't want it. Can't do nothing about it. Now you got some pretty birds and you have to relocate them. So that's one of the first things you do. And go find out what breed, how much you want, what's your budget. Because if you don't answer those simple questions, after a while, a pretty bird is a pretty bird, but if you can't maintain the feed, the watering, here in Hawaii it's about $1 a pound. So my 50-pound bag is about $50, and we have 200 birds. So you got to figure we're doing 4 to 8 bags a month. That's how we supplement. That's why we do the white bird release. That's just to pay for our feed. A lot of people get into way over their head. They don't know what they're getting. But once you answer those questions, then you just go on websites, go on YouTube, find out the nicest birds. Then you start looking locally. Here in Hawaii, we have to go to Department of Ag, get them quarantined. So just to bring in one bird, we can't do the post office. I'm sure you guys can do post office to post office. We have to air cargo one bird in. So a bird, just to bring a single bird in, it could be as most expensive as $350 just to transport a bird in to Hawaii. If you more birds in the crate, it's going to be cheaper. Then it's going to be at least $25 to $15 a bird for just air cargo or transportation. So once a person finds out what breed or what type of bird, then just look around locally, because you guys knew Lane Gardner and Jay Beals, right? Lane Gardner, the Capuchin guy. It's funny because them two are real good powder guys. They didn't realize they lived down the street from each other. So sometimes, a real expert could be just down the street. So if you are lucky enough to just kind of reach out to people around you, you could have an expert, somebody really who is good with birds. So I would recommend a person to look locally, what they got. Ask their pet shop, hey, do you know any pigeon breeders? Then AU and NBRC and NPA has membership directories. Then you can look, you see their address, and you can just actually give them a call. And you never know. Everybody's in a different stage of their pigeon life, like in their modern life. But in older guys might be just starting. Younger guys could be at the ending of their career. So if you can, reach out to somebody who is just starting, so you too can be on the learning journey, whatever you want, of pigeons. Or sometimes some people are, hey, I got to go college. Here's about 50 of my birds. You never know. My recommendation is maybe the new guys, after they find out if they can get birds and if they got the budget, join an organization like NBRC, NPA, or even AU, and ask them, hey, connect me with the right guys. And a lot of things would just fall into place, because social media is good, because I've been on social media since MySpace, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, X, Trends. I've been putting pigeons on forever. Made the world smaller, but nothing beats just calling up somebody. Hey, neighbor, can you help me? So that's what I would recommend for everybody.
So what about the experienced guys, these seasoned vets, these guys who had pigeons for a long time? What kind of call to action would you say to them? They want to help the hobby. What are some of the things these guys can do to help the hobby?
So the experienced guys helping the hobby. I know pigeons, like Chris was saying, that he's a roller guy, is not into the show. But a lot of times just the event gets guys together, roller guys together, racing guys together. Because at a roller event, you're a competitor. At a racing event, you're a really competitor. But once you get into the show part, we all just kind of camaraderie. Then you'll see the veterans. This, for me, my experience, the veteran guys would see other younger guys saying, hey, I got an extra bird. You want this bird? And it's very interesting that some guys want to share their bloodlines, because when you succeed, like if I give you guys my bloodline and you succeed, that's your success. But it's good for me to say, hey, I helped them out. I'm lucky enough to have my son into birds, because he's going to be the third generation. But a lot of my counterparts, a lot of the guys, my dad's friends who had kids same age as me, out of the 20 people in our club, I'm the only one with the birds. Everybody else got rid of birds. Everybody else swear not to have birds anymore. Pass on the knowledge, because once the guy's gone, knowledge will just disappear.
Yeah.
Try to be long-winded.
Put it into all the secret keeping, and like you said, they straight up told you some bad information.
Oh my God, yeah.
Let's not do that. I understand there's competition and stuff like that, and it's good. Iron sharpens iron, but let's help the hobby overall. Let's keep that in mind.
Yeah, and the sad part too is of the secret keeping. But a lot of people have the hidden agendas. They go, hey, buy this, buy that, and then they could be working for one of the pigeon supply companies. I try to be transparent. Yes, I am part of all different things, but I have nothing to gain for you to, hey, try this product. And whenever I go to pigeon shows or just pigeon meetings, I go and grab extra Jed's magazines, Boys magazines, Seagulls magazines, Purebred magazines, and just put it on the table. And while you're just kind of hanging out before the officers do any type of agenda, I'll actually go, hey, Chris, have you tried this product? Hey, Phil, have you tried this product? And then, remember I said time and stuff. Testing, trial and error. I could easily say, oh, I don't like it. Oh, I do love it. So you'd be surprised. Just bring in a magazine, catalog, pigeon supply catalog, create conversation. And you can use it. How do you use it? How do I use it? I have the gift of gab, so I love to talk about pigeons. I could talk about pigeons all day.
I think we got through most of the questions here, and everybody, Cam is he's on Facebook. Actually, real quick, I want to put this out there. This was a really cool thing that you kind of told me
on MySpace.
Oh, yeah, maybe Cam could talk about his other social media platforms. But so when he was saying, like when Facebook first got started, like he started all these individual groups like the Fantails, the Budapest, whatever, like these specific breed Facebook groups. Like, I mean, how many did you start off of that? Roughly?
Well, the last count was 63. So anytime you see like roller FB group, NBRC FB group, NPA FB group, then you got the NBRC FB page or whatever. I kind of did my own thing, so I could, you know how that any coder or a computer coder would have their back door would have their little signature.
Right.
So I started doing that. Capuchin FB group, you know, Racing Homer FB group, and in the description, if you see Aloha, that's me. I made the Aloha. So I gave up a lot of, because I was so into Facebook that I forgot my friends and family. So I had to stop. You know, I had to realize pigeons and social media was not everything, because I thought it was. So my pages, I had 9,000 people following me. Groups, you know, the German Beauty Homer, I think, is almost up to 10,000 people. 10,000. So with that, not to do a Spider-Man thing, but, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. I would just post something, then everybody, like how you guys around the world, would be notified. That was pretty cool. So anytime, and it is powerful, the social media, because you could
it was
easily.
a great way for getting, like, you know, just getting it out there for these, you know, especially some of the more rare breeds and stuff, and then people all over can kind of come together. I thought that was pretty cool, though. I thought that was a pretty neat way to promote right there. And you know, you shared on the Facebook that you were doing some stuff at a local school. You know, that's great. I mean, that really is the future.
I go up to shopping centers and people come running up to me. Hey, Uncle, you're the guy with the pigeons. And it's pretty cool because you made an impression for them. Yeah. All I did was just talk about different breeds, and we did a big bird release, and you heard all them screaming and made a memory for them. Always got to make a memory. And I tell people, you want to change a kid's life, bring them to a pigeon show. You want to change a kid's life, bring them to a pigeon loft, period. And then they're going to be fascinated by that. So, and I think I told you about that. I learned about bullying. I learned about the birds and the bees, about mating, about death, all within the loft. Everything my dad taught me about life within the loft. You didn't take care of the birds die, that's your fault. It's not like I can press reset on my Xbox or my PlayStation. I owe a lot to pigeons because the part of the island I live, kind of a rough part. My way of giving back is just doing what I do. Sometimes too much, but I do what I do, right? But once again, thank you so much for this podcast. I'm sure somebody listening to this podcast listened to my hot air, but I really enjoyed it.
How'd you hear about us?
On Facebook. Because I just was looking, I just say, hey, it's pretty cool. Because not too much people. I have my own podcast for a little while. Nobody listened. There was the guy Daryl. He was a Modena guy, Modena Talk. So not pigeon wise, the podcast comes and goes. You know, I would recommend for you guys to actually write a book, put it on Amazon. Simple stuff. Because I have books on Amazon. I don't know if you've seen that. You go Amazon, you type my name in, boom, chickens, pigeons. It's just something to just share, constantly share, and you'll be amazed how much people you touched.
This has been good. I really hope that, you know, it does help a lot of the beginners and everybody else who's struggling and stuff. And like I told you on the phone, you know, it was when I was first getting started, I had a hard time finding anybody locally in my area. And I just remember. You know, I wish I had something more besides Googling my pigeon problems. And you know, you post it on a pigeon Facebook group, and sometimes you'll get, you know, one answer, and then someone else will jump on there and give you the opposite answer. Then they just have an argument, and you don't even get a real answer. You know, so you know, we're kind of hoping that this podcast can help out new people, and also, you know, just be enjoyable for, you know, anybody, like you say, whatever they're at with their, you know, their stage of their pigeon life. So, you know,
everybody is in a different stage. You have to realize. So, like, if you're a president of the club and nobody comes, you got to realize sometimes too, like, hey, not everybody can do a pigeon meeting or a pigeon get together, a pigeon, especially rollers. You know, Chris, you said you're into rollers, so like some World Cup event, maybe you get the full district or the full region, everybody's participating, two kits at a time. But the next year, maybe only 4 guys, and you can't even do a qualifier. It's all about promoting. Say, hey, are you guys excited about it? You know, I mean, it's all about the setup. Rollers here in Hawaii was really hot at one point, and now it's kind of just surviving. They're still going, but it's not as much. We had 26 people in the club. Now I think the core is 6 people. Racing pigeons, we had 20 clubs on one island. Now I think we're down to 6 clubs. We had over 200 flyers. Now we're down to like 50, and that's including the one lock. Yeah, it's all about. They're still around. The hobby is not dying. I tell people not dying. It's just that in Hawaii, you can fish, you can surf, you can. E-bikes is a big thing. You can hike. Pigeons just kind of went to the back burner. So it's all about us, me, you, podcast, YouTube. You guys have a YouTube yet? It's great for you guys.
Yeah, we post.
Yeah.
We post
You guys do have a YouTube. Yeah, I see that. I subscribe. Yeah.
We got Facebook for radio.
Yeah. I do. I have a face for radio. I hope I lived up to the hype. My goodness, man. You did a lot of hiking, so.
I mean, you got a lot of experience. You got a lot to offer, and and you're on our Facebook. The Facebook is meant to have experts, new people, everybody at different stages, so that way anybody can ask and everybody can answer and take it and use whatever you can use and trial and error and help each other out, help the hobby out.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And I hope everybody. I'm on Spotify. You're on Spotify, right? I found you on Spotify, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. You must subscribe. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't even think I'm subscribed.
Yeah, we're on Google and Apple and wherever podcasts are. We're there, and so we try to make it accessible for everybody. That's why the YouTube is usually just uploaded episodes and stuff like that too.
Oh, right on, man. Congratulations.
And it works when we get these experts like you on here, because sometimes Chris and I just start going down pigeon rabbit holes and get all over the place with it. So thanks for coming on, Cam. We appreciate your time and advice today.
Oh, no, thank you. And I'm very honored. You guys have a wonderful day.